Hi, I'm Dana, and I've got to tell you, there is nothing like the thrill of running on the open water full throttle with the wind in my face. There isn't much that can compare with owning and enjoying your own boat. Like most boat owners, though, there are some characteristics of your boating experience that can be less than enjoyable. For example, the constant bouncing or porpoising. The time it takes for the boat to get on plane. Even the limited visibility created by bow rise during acceleration. The answer to these and many other performance issues you are experiencing is our Smart Tabs SX. As we say here at Nauticus, Smart Tabs raise your performance expectations. In a moment, Greg will show you how easy it is to install these tabs on your boat. For this demonstration, we're using a typical 20-foot day cruiser. Smart Tabs SX are designed to be installed on boats from 14 to 20 feet with 40 to 225 horsepower engines. Now, Greg will show you how easy it is to install these tabs on your boat.
As you'll see in this video, Smart Tabs SX assemble and install on your boat in just minutes and require only a drill and a few common tools. In the package you'll find 2 trim plates, 2 hinges, 4 3/8-inch nylon hex hinge bolts and nuts, 2 transom brackets, 2 actuator pins, 2 5/16-inch nylon hex bolts and nuts, 16 number 14 machine screws, and 2 actuators with boots. For the installation, you'll need a drill, a flat blade and Phillips screwdriver, 1/2-inch wrench, masking tape, a measuring tape, pencil, and a small tube of marine sealant. If you're installing the tabs on a fiberglass transom, you'll need a 7/32-inch drill bit. If you're installing on an aluminum or wood transom, then use a 3/16-inch drill bit. Before you install the Smart Tabs, you want to ensure that the transom is dry and clean of dirt, grease, or any debris. Smart Tabs must be installed so the trim plate hinge and transom bracket are mounted on the same surface or plane as shown in this diagram. These Smart Tabs SX must never be installed like this. For example, with the trim plate hinge mounted to the vertical side of the transom and the transom bracket mounted on the underside of the swim platform. Mounting the Smart Tabs in this way will cause the clevis-style fittings to bind and break when the plate retracts. If on your boat the tabs must be installed in this manner, then you should use the Nauticus Smart Tabs Stainless Steel series or call 1-800-233-0194 for advice. This video will demonstrate the installation of the port side Smart Tab. You'll follow the same directions to install the starboard side tab. It's recommended that you complete the installation on one side before beginning installation on the opposite side of the transom. Now, let's install your SX Smart Tabs. To begin, apply 2 or 3 strips of masking tape along the bottom edge of the transom where you'll be mounting the hinge. If possible, start at the inside edge of the chine, about 3 to 5 inches from the outside of the transom, and extend a length of about 10 inches. Next, align the outside edge of the hinge with your pencil mark. The trim plate mounting brackets on the hinge are centrally located, so there is neither a top nor bottom to the hinge. When you align the hinge with your pencil mark, make sure the lower edge of the hinge is flush with the bottom of the transom or slightly higher. Now mark all 6 holes with your pencil and drill them with the 7/32-inch drill bit, since this is a fiberglass hull. You can now remove the masking tape. Inject a small amount of marine sealant into each hole. Apply the hinge, aligning the holes, and install the number 14 machine screws using a Phillips screwdriver. Don't use an electric drill or battery-powered screwdriver to install any mounting screws. These devices can apply too much torque on the screws and could potentially strip or crack the holes in the transom. Even when using a manual screwdriver, don't use an excessive force when installing the screws. When you feel the screw stop, simply apply a little additional pressure to the screw, but don't over-tighten it. Now you're ready to attach the trim plate. Align the plate and hinge holes. The mounting holes on the trim plate will align inside those of the hinge. Insert a nylon hex hinge bolt starting on the outside of the hinge and going through the trim plate bracket. Install the hex nut on the inside of the assembly. Using a flat blade screwdriver, hand tighten the bolt to the nut. Then install the second nut and bolt. With both nuts and bolts installed, the plate will now be secured to the hinge and transom. You'll notice that once the trim plate is installed, it will naturally fall to a resting point at approximately 25 degrees downward. Now it's time to install the gas actuator to the plate. It's important the actuator be oriented properly. When examining the actuator, you'll notice two cable clamps at one end and a single cable clamp on the opposite end. The end with two cable clamps is the top of the actuator. There are 5 adjustment holes provided on the trim plate to allow you to fine-tune the boat to your preference and comfort. It's recommended when first installing the trim tabs, you attach the actuator to hole number 3. Once you test run the boat in the water, you can adjust the tabs to increase or decrease the pressure as desired to maximize your boat's performance and ride. Hole number 1 will provide you with the least amount of lift, and hole number 5 will provide you with the maximum lift. Note that when the actuator is finally mounted to the transom, regardless of which mounting hole you attach the actuator, you'll notice that the deployment angle of the plate does not change. This adjustment sets the lift pressure, not the angle. Attach the bottom side of the actuator, the side with only one cable clamp, to hole number 3 on the plate using a 5/16 inch hex bolt and nut. Only hand tighten the bolt and nut. The actuator should be able to pivot on the trim plate with a slight resistance. With the actuator attached to the plate, you can now attach the transom bracket to the top of the actuator using the snap and lock pin. You'll notice the mounting hole on the transom bracket is offset. The offset is provided to facilitate an alternate mounting position if needed due to obstructions. Either orientation is acceptable. Next, allow the trim plate to rest on its own in its deployed position. It will naturally rest about 25 degrees down from horizontal. Without moving or lifting the trim plate, rotate the actuator to the transom until the transom bracket is seated flush. Using the transom mounting bracket as a template, drill the holes. Inject a small amount of marine sealant into each hole, and for the final time, bring the actuator back with the transom bracket resting on the transom. The holes should align. Attach the mounting bracket to the transom using the number 14 machine screws. Once again, tighten the screws securely, but do not over-tighten them. Once the trim tab is completely mounted, make sure the trim plate retracts above its horizontal position or above the boat's running surface. With the port side now completely installed, follow the same installation procedure to install the starboard side trim tab.
Now that Greg has finished installing the starboard side, let's see how the boat performs. As you can see, there's a considerable improvement in the boat's overall performance. Greg can easily see over the bow during the initial acceleration, and the boat gets on plane in only a few seconds. Notice how smooth the boat runs through waves and wakes. There's no bouncing or porpoising. Another amazing benefit is the improvement in fuel economy you'll find having the Smart Tabs SX on your boat. If you're tired of getting bounced around your boat and you want more time out of your tank of gas, then you're ready to give Smart Tabs SX a try. We're so confident you'll love them, we guarantee their performance or your money back. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you found it helpful, and I will look forward to seeing you on the water enjoying your Smart Tabs SX soon.